Oh yeah, it was a story about Resident Evil 4, the VR port, and they end up censoring that. It's like, ugh, that's disgusting. It's like you have to make everything so political nowadays. It's like, oh, we want to make things more appropriate for modern audiences. Like, why do you have to turn everything political? Like Resident Evil 4 is fine the way it was. Like, basically in the VR port for Resident Evil 4, they just cut content out of the original game, and they specifically focused on Ashley, and they say she was over sexualized in the original, so they want to tone that down in the VR port, which I feel is like ridiculous because it's like she wasn't overly sexualized, but they did bring attention to her. But at the same time, it's like she's not a little girl. Like, you know, like if she was like underage, it's like, yeah, I understand, but she's 18. She's as listed as an adult. You can look into the freaking player guide. But yeah, Resident Evil 4 is like they took out the line that Lewis said to her. He was like, when they go into the cabin where they have to hold them off for a while, he goes, I see the daughter equipped this. I see the president equipped his daughter with ballistics too. Then the camera kind of pans to her breasts, obviously. But it's just like a little joke. And then Ashley obviously defends herself, you know. She goes, how rude, I don't see any relevance to my figure and my standing. So she obviously defends herself. And then they switch topics. Like, they don't focus on her. It's just like a little joke. Like, you know, it's made not to be taken seriously. Like, the whole point of Resident Evil 4 is like, it's this dope, cool action game that's not to be taken too seriously. But they cut that line out. And then, like, it's like, no, it's not a little Easter egg, but like when Ashley's on like a higher ladder, it's like you aim up. I guess you try to look up her skirt, obviously, if you want to be like, you know, curved like that. Like she obviously covers up, and she goes, oh, how rude, and she calls you pervert or whatever. But they even took that out, that like she doesn't even acknowledge you, or you can't even, I think, do that. They said something like they just removed that entirely. So I'm like you really just like edit that game for no reason. Like, it's not even that. It's like the fact that they have this power to, because it's like, if you don't like that, it's like, what are the rules? You know, like if you're able to edit one thing out the game, then nothing's off limits. You can just edit the game however you want, because somebody else can come up and say, oh, I don't like this part, what they did here. You know, they could say Ada Wong is being overly sexualized too by wearing like a red dress all the time in Resident Evil 4, you know? Like, people just make up dumb shit. Oh, or they could say, oh, I don't like Resident Evil 4 because I feel like they're appropriating the racist stereotypes of these Spanish people, and they're encouraging the genocide of these indigenous people. It's like, what? It's like, it's a game. It's not to be taken seriously. Like, Resident Evil is not political at all. It's just a dope action series, like survival horror / action series. Yeah, get rid of that. I don't know, like, I don't like everybody trying to be political just for the sake of being, you know. Because, like, Resident Evil 4 is like, you know, like I said, it's the idea of if someone's able to censor something, then nothing's off limits, you know. If they could do one thing, they could do anything. So that's why I'm like, you know, you gotta be real careful allowing people to do something like that, because then nothing's off limits. It's like, where's the limit? And who can say what to edit, you know? Who has the right to say they're offended over something, you know?
Thanks.
But a lot of people try to, you know, push that idea.
May I remind you that you're still on duty?
Story of my life.
Like I said, people just like to bitch for no reason sometimes, just because they're bored. Or they over-sexualize Ashley. Like, shut up. She's a fictional character, she's not real. Why do you care? Oh yeah, and they took out the last ending line
my
in the
place?
game where like
How about we do
Leon and her
some
were running on the jet ski, you know, after you beat Sadler. And then she goes, well,
Somehow
she
I knew
goes,
you'd say that, but it doesn't hurt to
after
ask,
this,
you know?
how about we do some overtime?
So,
Basically,
who
you
was
know,
that
implying
woman?
that, you know, they,
Why
you
do
know,
you
get together.
ask?
Come
And
on, tell
Leon
me.
obviously turns her down.
She's like a part of me I can't let
And
go.
then she goes, it doesn't hurt to ask,
Let's
you know.
leave it at that.
But it's like this dude risked his life to save you countless times. Like, of course she would be like, and he's a hot dude. Like, can't lie. So it's like, yeah, she gonna be like real appreciative of him, I'll say. And like she's young and like, you know, he's a attractive older guy. So it's like, you know, she's an adult. Like, let her do her. Like I said, Leon turned her down anyway. So, but yeah, they took out that line. Some dickhead thought they were offended or trying to be PC by taking that out. So like, get out of here. Like, who are you to create and dictate the rules? That's why I don't like PC culture. Because people just change. Oh shit, they got me. People just, you know, they take things out of content. They try to push for this agenda. I think it's just all about control. People, they just get a kick out of just controlling things and canceling people. You know, that's why Dave Chappelle getting a lot of heat right now from his Netflix special closure. That's another video topic, but I'm just relating that point to the, you know, people trying to cancel and change and be PC. Because like Resident Evil 4 is just about having a good time. Like, it's not meant to be taken serious. It's like a spoof of like, well, yeah, I guess it was with like old action like movies and just like action stories in general, where like the hero saves the day and, you know, beats the villain, gets the girl, you know. Hell, even Sadler has a quote where he says, he said, "Oh, Miss Kennedy, you're entertaining. You're much. It's much like your Hollywood movies. It's so no, he said you're cliche like your Hollywood movies. Like, yeah, they even reference that. So it's like, yo, like,
What's so funny?
stop taking this shit so serious, yo.
The American prevailing is a cliche that only happens in your Hollywood movies.
Yo, get my $5.
Mr. Kennedy, you entertain me. To show my appreciation,
Yeah, I was mad about that. I'm like, who are you to censor Resident Evil 4? It's like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, leave it as it is. So we felt the over-sexualized Ashley. I mean, you can say that about any video game female character, and I mean, this is Japan. Like, Japan, that's just what they do, you know? But yeah, like Resident Evil 4 is like is great. It's like Resident Evil 4 is like the best game of all time, if not the top 5 of all best games ever made. Because Resident Evil 4 is at a high caliber of game design, game mechanics, story. Hell, like even though the story is like kind of, it's not cliche, but it's damn good, and like even the voice acting is superb. And it really carries the narrative. Leon, Krauser, Ada, Saller, Lewis, like everyone is really good. Like, you know, like, and people who support RE4 are like longtime fans anyway. Hell, because I could pull up a Krauser fight the first time they met, and you like everyone who's a real fan could like read off that whole dialogue between him and Leon. You know, like Krauser jumps down, surprise attacks with the knife. He lands. Leon wipes his cut with his hand. He wipes the cut off his face with his hand.
Been a long time,
comrade. Krauser. I died in a crash years ago. Is that what they told you?
I died in
You're
the
going to
crash
kidnap
2 years
Ashley.
ago. Is that what
You
they
got him
told you?
quick.
You're
As
the one who
expected.
kidnapped Ashley.
After all, both you and I
I
know
killed
what
you
we come
quick.
for.
As
You know, I can just
expected.
go on and on.
After all, you and I
That's
both
how good
know
that
where we
game
come
was. Like,
from.
you want to play it over and over and just remember the lines because they stuck to you. Because the voice
What do
acting
you
was so
want?
good. Yeah, I was gonna.
The sample
I could.
sampler developed,
I've been a
that's
huge
all.
Resident Evil fan since like my childhood.
Leave Ashley out of this.
I used to watch my
Oh,
dad and
I
my
heard
brothers, older brothers play
trusted
it.
me. Like you, I'm American.
So, you know, I've been around it a long time. My whole family's been gamers since I was like a child, so I was introduced to all these types of games and genres and systems. Like, we had them all, like Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, and all that. But it's a good ass game, yo. Like, if you guys haven't played Resident Evil 4, like I said, like, they have the game on all these different consoles. GameCube is the original, PS2 is for it. They have it on the Wii. They have it on PS3 store, PS4 store, Xbox. Like, it's everywhere. So, you know, I suggest if you want to play it, get one of those, because they have it for whatever system you got. They got it for. And I you know, advise you and suggest to you not to support the VR version, because we don't want to support people being political in their video games, you know. Because who's to say they won't go back and change a game when they remaster it, just so they don't upset certain people? Because they did that for Yakuza 3. There were a couple of side missions where you had to run away from a transgender woman, and it was just for comedy. Like, there was no hate. Like, you didn't fight them. You just, you know, ran away from them. And like I said, it was just for comedy. At the time, like I said, the game was very old. Oh shit. Okay. But yeah, it's like, don't take it too serious, like, but they always do. And it's just like, they're just being party poopers, and since they're not happy, they want to make everyone else not happy. And it's like, enough is enough, you know? Like, we as consumers have to put our foot down and say, no, stop doing this. Like, inclusion is different from, like, censoring. Because if you censor something that's already pre-established just so you don't hurt a certain group, it's like, it's like you're pushing it.
Las plagas are slaves to my will. I have
That was worthless.
absolute control.
Well, I really don't give a damn. Rain or shine.
But yeah, we have to make a stand as, like, gamers and just people in general, that we won't tolerate needless censorship. It's like, who is this really hurting me? And it's like, who is this for? Like, you say it's for modern audiences, but that's just an excuse to say you're just trying to make it more PC. Because I bet it was someone who was like super liberal. Maybe it was a millennial. Because only those people of that generation really care about being PC, and they focus heavily on censorship. They gotta go that way. So I gotta blow them off, huh? Yeah, only they care about censorship. And switch to the yeah. We need to make a stand against that. Like, it's this whole left culture. Like, they just love to censor all these left-wing, fake woke people. Like, they're the ones who try to censor everything that doesn't fit their narrative. God damn it. So I would suggest that you people not support them by buying this VR version of RE4. They have plenty of good versions of RE4. You know, like, you don't have to play it in VR. I suggest playing, if you want a VR Resident Evil, just play 7 or play 8. 7 or 8. They're good VRs. Experiences. And Resident Evil 4 VR is not all that impressive anyway, you know. But it's the shortcut. So yeah, I implore you and suggest to you guys that we don't want to support this. So you know, I hope that you will not support them by buying Resident Evil 4 VR. And you can tell them to go pound Sam.
Who are you?
Yeah, they can fuck off with that. I hope you guys agree with that. Because it's ridiculous. It's like, what's next? Like, they're gonna take old games and censor them. It's like the same thing they were doing with Disney. Like, Disney started to censor like Back to the Future. Basically, like, I think it was like a porno mag, and they wanted to censor that. It's like, leave that in. It's like it wasn't super explicit. It wasn't like, you know, anything like too adult on the covers. It was suggestive. That was it. It was very tame. It was suggestive, but they still felt the need to censor it. It's like, why? It's like, who are you trying to? You're not protecting anybody. It's like you're being too sensitive. You're being too PC. There's no real reason for it. And like, we gotta tell these people like to stop doing it, because you're not protecting anybody. You're not making a difference, and you're just being fake political.
Never turning into one of them. Never.
You know, you're trying to look good.
We'll find a cure.
It's like you're not impressing anybody. So yeah, I implore you to not support the Resident Evil 4 VR. Oh yeah, the ladder. Okay.
Leave me alone!
Ashley, wait! Ashley!
What's going on?
Don't worry, Ashley. I'm coming for you.